Okay, good morning. My name is Enos Harris, Hearing Officer for Public Works for San Francisco Public Works. Cerise Walters is the clerk of this hearing. This hearing is being recorded and your presence and participation are documented as part of this process. The public hearing is being held to consider one tree removal request. My job as a hearing officer is to gather the facts for the hearing item, listen to your testimonies, and help our Director of Public Works make determinations. I will not be making any decisions today. Instead, I will forward the findings from this hearing and make my recommendations to the Director. The Director will make the final determinations. When the director's determinations are made, the department will notify you. Please be sure we have your contact information on file. If necessary, we can contact you in the future regarding the item you are here for. This hearing will proceed as follows. I will ask Public Works staff to speak first and present the case. Then I will allow the property owner or appellant to speak, then any member of the public or witness who wants to speak. If necessary, the department can address any comments, and then the property owner and appellant if there are any rebuttals. Each speaker will have up to 3 minutes to speak. The clerk will monitor the time for all speakers. When you hear the first bell, it will mean the speaker has 30 seconds left to speak. A louder second bell will signal the time is up. Comments and questions should be addressed to me and not to the department or the applicant. If you cannot finish your comments within the allotted time, you may submit written testimony to me by the end of this hearing. If I feel a question is warranted, I will ask the question. After all comments are completed, I will close the item. We will now begin the hearing, and I would like to start with order number 208831. This order supersedes order 208828 to consider the removal of one significant tree without replacement on private property at 41 Ashton. May I have Public Works make its presentation?
And excuse me, Ms. Harris, before we go to that item, we also have item number 2 prior to that about public comments. If there's any public comment on any item that is not on today's agenda.
Okay, sorry, sorry I omitted that. Do we have any?
We do have a hand.
Okay.
Go ahead, Mr. Clip.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Thanks. Just in this with this opportunity and general public comment, just for the hearing officer and for everyone listening, members of the public, San Francisco, just a reminder, San Francisco has the smallest urban canopy of any major city in the United States. According to the Public Works newsletter earlier this week, we have a canopy percentage of 13.7%, which stands in stark difference to the national average of 27%. Our 2023 Urban Forest Report noted that since 2017, San Francisco has net lost 1,263 street trees. So we have not gained a single tree in the last 6 years. We have lost 1,300. And that number didn't include the numbers from last winter's storm. So we're actually closer to 2,000. San Francisco has $20 million set aside to prune and remove trees every year, but we have $0 set aside to plant and water trees every year. And this is all set against the backdrop of the 2021 Climate Action Plan that called for 40,000 new trees within 30 years, or an investment that would take nearly $15 million a year to even start to achieve. Additionally, the Climate Action Plan specifically called for policies of preservation of trees in development by 2023. So this hearing is being held on December 4th, 2023, and so far, no department has taken up the Climate Action Plan's simple matter of a policy recommendation. So just as we discuss proposed removal, just please know that we are failing our urban canopy. We're failing to preserve what we have. We're failing to grow and plant. And this is a failure of a critical aspect of our Climate Action Plan's call for the preservation and growth of green infrastructure and of our urban tree canopy. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clip. Are there any others? I see no other hands, Ms. Harris.
Okay, thank you. So now, may I have, Public Works present their case?
Good morning. My name is Susan Nawberry, and I'm the staff rep for the Bureau of Urban Forestry this morning. We have just a little preamble for this PowerPoint, but most of the people that are here were at the October 23rd hearing, and this is a rehearing of the 41 Ashton case. And we did go over this, that we have strategic goals, and we're preserving and growing the urban forest, or we're attempting to, while balancing the safety and needs of a growing and evolving city. And this doesn't really apply in this case because the case doesn't really apply to like the desire to remove a street tree based on maintenance. But we do have a street tree maintenance program. This tree is a significant tree, so I don't really think this slide is very relevant for this case. But we do include it. And then just to mention that our urban forestry ordinance is codified under Article 16 of the Public Works Code. And that's the ordinance that establishes the authorization and standards for addressing any wide range of issues regarding street trees and significant trees in this case. So a removal permit is required to remove a street tree, a significant tree, and a landmark tree. And this case we're dealing with is a significant tree. And this isn't relevant for this case because the applicant is responsible for the tree replacement, and they'll be replacing, or they will not be replacing this tree, but they'll be planting street trees as part of their building requirements. So this part here is the property owner or applicant is granted a removal permit for removal of a healthy tree. We will assess the value of that tree, and we've done that here. If the owner can replace that tree, but not the same size, we'll assess the value and subtract the value of a 24-inch box. In this case, the significant tree can't be replaced because it's in the footprint of building footprint overlaps with the significant tree placement, so it can't be replaced. So we're assessing the full appraised value. And so I've highlighted the tree removal criteria that apply here. The construction will destabilize the significant tree, and there really isn't a feasible workaround because of the shape and size of the building, which I'm not going to opine on because I'm not an expert on SB 9 or planning, but as the plans are presented to us, the approved building footprint overlaps with the existing tree. So we're here to consider, oh, I'm sorry, I got the wrong order number here, but this is from the last one, but the current order number. So we're considering the removal of one significant tree without replacement on private property at 41 Ashton, and we've appraised the value for the loss of the tree, and that will be collected. It also separately triggers the planting of 4 new street trees as part of the building permit requirements. So any new building, they must plant 1 tree for every 20 feet. I believe based on the plans they provided, these 4 street trees are feasible. And so it's a tree that's 35 to 40 feet tall. It has a diameter at standard height of 24 inches, and it is in good condition. I did observe that it was previously topped. So that reduced the value to $10,700 as opposed to it be valued higher if it weren't topped, but it's still valued at a significant amount, in my opinion. So it is, there's another angle of the tree, and you can see that it is healthy, and we're not really debating the health of the tree or disputing that it's a valuable tree, but we don't really have any sway when it comes to preserving the tree if it's on private property in the footprint of a building approved by the planning department. And there's the tree again, and you can see from here, and it is the significant tree. The tree's in the back. So there's a small pear tree on the right that's not covered by our ordinance because it's too small to meet our significant tree requirements. And the redwood in the back doesn't meet our significant tree requirements because it's too far from the right of way. And then I got an updated photo with the posting on the tree, the recent posting, and you can see that distance from the fence just barely makes it a significant tree, but it is. And there's the updated posting, because I understand that was a sore spot last time with the hearing, and that's why we're rehearing the case, to just demonstrate that we listened, and we reposted the notice for another 30 days. And there's just another photo of the tree and the placement. And here's the plan set. And so you can see that they've marked with the circles and X's the trees that are within the footprint or right along the foundation of the building. And on the lower right-hand corner is the holly tree. And so it's right on the edge of the building. So it can't be preserved based on the plans here. And then we did receive a tree protection plan for the remaining trees. And then highlighted in green there is that's a street tree and it will be protected. And that is our case for 41 Ashton, why we approved the removal of the tree. It's just in the footprint of a building and it can't be preserved without destabilizing it.
Okay, thank you. Are there any, would the property owner or representative like to speak? Is there a property owner or representative that would like to speak?
Yeah, hey there.
Hi.
Hi, so yeah, I'm the project sponsor. I completely agree with Josh and that, we want trees in San Francisco. Being a native here, growing up on Ashton, we've lived here for many years and we love the garden. And so, just like to Josh's point, we're going to remove the tree, but we're going to add, in place of one tree missing, we're going to add 4 more new trees, along with what Susan Nawberry was mentioning, the funds to remove the significant tree. Those funds will go towards planting more trees in San Francisco. And in actuality, although we're planting 4 street trees, we will also be planting more trees within the kind of area around the building. We really like nature, and yeah, thank you for letting me speak.
Okay, thank you. Are there any public comments on this item?
Can we just make sure that the applicants all go first and then we'll take public comment?
Was there another applicant?
Only if anybody else from the applicant team wants to speak. Could you raise your hand? And if no one else on the applicant's team wants to speak, we can move to public comment. You're right, I don't see any other hand raised other than
I did
public.
have another, is Monique Woodruff part of the team? I asked her to
She's a member of the public.
unmute. Okay.
But I think you're right that nobody
Yeah.
else from the project team is raising their hand, so we can probably
Yeah.
move on to public comment. I just want to keep it just kind of consolidated in that way.
Hi there. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, this is Monique Woodruff, and I live at 36 Ashton Avenue. somewhat directly across from the beautiful trees that are currently in the lot. I would like to point out that the building footprint, the proposed building footprint, does not conform to California or San Francisco SB 9 standards, nor regular building standards. And the footprint has not been approved by the planning department, according to Mr. Guzman's voicemail to me. So I'm not sure why we're saying this building has been approved and we're going to be, approving knocking down these trees. I've been in contact with him. I called him and left him a message, and he called me back, and he said that there were no permits approved for this address. I would like to know if there is any instance for something like this where you don't approve the removal of these trees. I mean, with this one, it's not just the street tree, but it's also the redwood that's in the back. And if you look at the design in the footprint, it could be moved. The footprint could be moved. It could be moved back and to the side. And that would pretty much save all of those trees. I don't understand why, there isn't any sort of, checks and balances on this, or, back and forth. We disagree with this. They're beautiful trees. I've emailed, I look at them pretty much multiple times a day, and they're a source of joy, honestly. I'm looking at it right now. I'm looking at both of the trees, the tall trees right now. I object to their removal for many of the reasons already stated. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else? Do we have any other public comment?
Yes, we have Mr. Clip. Go ahead, Mr. Clip.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yeah, so if you look at the city's 2021 Climate Action Plan, page 120, under the Healthy Ecosystems Action 5.4, here's what it says, quote, by 2023, create a policy to require preservation of mature trees during development or infrastructure modifications, and for planting of basal area equivalent of mature trees whose removal is unavoidable. So this is two parts here. And while we're here to talk about the significant tree, we're also talking about the project, because there's clearly not only a lack of climate action policy implementation, but also a lack of coordination between planning and public works regarding all of these trees. Your average taxpayer or resident of San Francisco would assume that departments are conducting themselves in coordination and in alignment with the Climate Action Plan. And just for a reminder, the Climate Action Plan was created in response to our 2019 declaration that the city is in a climate emergency. We're 4 years after declaring a climate emergency, and we're doing business as usual. We're designing buildings as if trees don't exist, then approving tree removal because that's what the design calls for. We've got to be able to do both things at once here. We've got to be able to preserve healthy, mature, existing trees, because literally our future depends on all of these actions in the Climate Action Plan. And if that is completely unavoidable, then we're supposed to be asking for the planting of a basal area equivalent of mature trees, not 4 trees according to the code that's existed since 2000 and whatever. This is 2021's Climate Action Plan saying we've got to do better, or we're not going to be a resilient city in the future. So this is a perfect example of how the city is failing our climate action goals, and in turn, failing the people in the ecosystems that depend on things like our green infrastructure for the future. So I would respectfully object to this removal and ask that this be taken through the lens of what is called for in our Climate Action Plan. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Do we have another public comment?
Yes, we have John Woodruff. Go ahead, you can speak.
Hi, good morning. Just a quick question. Hi, I'm also from 36 Ashton. I'm somewhere different than my wife right now, so we're not on the same call. Regarding the permits, as my wife mentioned, that to our knowledge there haven't been any. Do we have that you know of approved permits? And if so, do we know what the permit numbers are for this building?
All right, I was looking for my unmute button. I do have a building permit number for this, and typically we don't get the building permit number routed all through our stations, like the PUC and the Beer Street Eastern mapping, unless the planning has approved the plan. So, I am interested in Monique's comment about what planning said about not approving the footprint, get clarification on that. And we do have the building permits, which was the impetus of this, because I noted that there was a tree removal on the paper plans, and I held the permit until this was resolved. And so it is being held until this hearing is resolved, because we don't just approve like the paper plans either until, we can say like, yes, what they're indicating is correct. So we do have building permits, and we can tell you what those numbers are offline.
That would be great. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there another public comment? We have any other public comments on this item?
I see no other hands at this time, Ms. Harris.
Okay, thank you.
And
So, go ahead.
oh, I'm sorry. There is a comment in the chat saying there was another neighbor who was trying to get on, but I do not see the hands of any other persons.
Okay, so if there are no more comments for this item, I will close this item now and make my recommendation to the director. Are there any comments? Oh, there are no other items on this agenda. Okay, so if there are no more comments, I am closing this hearing. This hearing is now closed. Thank you.